Hi there, folks. Simon here. This is Tones versus Klimace in the game two of the finals of the 2023 January Beginner Tack Tournament. We saw Klimace lose to a board fill in game one. Now it's his turn to start as white. Maybe he can bring this back to even and force a tiebreaker match, which would be a lot of fun. We'd be able to see some blitz. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Again, this is played on a 6x6 board with 15 minutes on the clock and 10-second increment, meaning that 10 seconds gets added to your clock after every turn. And we are playing these games with zero Comey, meaning that, well, we don't need to go into it because we're not playing with Comey. So let's get right into game two of this two-game finals match. And we see that corner opening in a6, a much more traditional opening than the one we saw from Tones. And then white immediately going for that knight's opening, which is a very, very popular opening right now, playing in that spot, sort of in a chess knight's move from your opening square. And now we're seeing this sort of mirrored center control. And we're likely going to see black play here, then white play here, then black play here, and then white will play, or black will play a capstone over here at d2 right now, sorry. Or at c2. Either one works. The capstone at c2 is dropped, and that's so that black can capture up and get into that and mix up the momentum. White might play up at f4 now to sort of go for this vertical threat along the edge. And it looks like that's what they do. They might drop a capstone here at e5. Nope, just a flat it looks like. Saving that capstone. Don't want to save it too long though, because again, you know, that early capstone is one of the guidelines of that we talk about in the capstones video of TAC University. All right, yes, that is b4 now played. So it looks like black is just continuing to go for this horizontal threat. And they can do that. White wants to go for the vertical here, and they can by playing at f2. That's what they go for. Black might play at a4 here. But if they do, white can come up with e3, and that is a much stronger move than something like e5 right or an f6 or something like that. Coming up with e3 is just it's a lot stronger. All right, now I think we are. Oh, we didn't see e3 up. I feel like that's a significantly worse move to come left with f4. I think e3 plus is a lot better. And look at this. So e3 plus comes up. That capstone can't throw all the way to e3 and do anything about it now. But since this is here, black can bring the capstone right if they want to. And that cuts off this vertical threat that white's going for, and also gets that capstone more in the mix of things. Sure, it gives them a double white stack here, but that's not where you want to be. But now black can drop a flat up here at e6 if they want to. They can capture to the right with d4, but that capstone coming right, just like I said, that is what you wanted to avoid here, and doing e3 plus would have kept that capstone from getting into the game now. This is where you got to be careful. White dropping the capstone up ahead at d5. I guess anticipating black coming up with the capstone onto e4 to capture that and create a tag threat. White coming up with the capstone here, able to come down and get into the mix of things at d4. Black does come up White comes down, as we expected. Now here, white is in a much better position. White has the opportunity to go for a horizontal, white has the opportunity to go for a vertical. I think white's best bet here is probably to play at d5. Black then wants to stop white from playing at d5, so we'll play it at d5. But then white will do something like play over at c3 or a3, something like that. And I think that's pretty good. White is in a really, really good position here. Definitely, definitely in a much better spot. It was a good capstone position. I feel like there were some other things that Black could have done there to do it differently. But Black plays over at a3 instead. Now this is where I say if I'm white, I'm playing at d5 immediately. Yeah, dropping the d5. He is going for that. Probably going to be playing up at d6 on the next turn, which would be attack threat in the vertical direction by placing an e3 or doing one d3 right. So yeah, does play at d6. This is attack threat in the vertical direction. Black could miss this. We do see that quite a bit. But drops the wall. This is where things get a little iffy. So white can play at d2, but he would know that that wall would come left, and he would not be able to smash it because that would leave a road for black. Does do it anyway. Now that wall's going to come left onto d3, since it's the only move that works. It is forced. Now, white immediately walls at a5, which is a smart play. Very smart play to do. Black tries to go around the wall. White immediately comes down with it. This will give white the ability to kind of do some more things over on this side. If black fills in at a5, white won't be able to smash. I think that's probably what black wants to do is play at a5 here. Black can play at a5, then it doesn't really matter what white does. Black plays at c5, and they can go for a horizontal along the top. I think that's a good way to go about this if you're black. The tables have turned. But yeah, I do like a5 here. Black does go for that. And we see white instead play at c3. I guess white could be going for a dual-pronged threat. Maybe playing an e3 and then smashing. But would have to do something about this first, probably by coming right with the wall. Maybe back up with the wall, but I don't know about this, actually. I'm not sure what white's going for, because none of it really works out past another 2 turns. Black, however, is building a pretty solid position on the left-hand side. I am surprised black didn't build at c5, however. White building at c2. Yeah, black making the tag threat, playing at B1, so this is now a threat. No longer a threat, now that white has come down with that wall onto A3. All right. What's the play here for black? You can't renew your threat. Well, you can renew your threat. You can come down with C4. But you probably don't want to do that. C5, I feel like, still looks pretty good to me. Does go for the C5. Like they're going to be playing for that horizontal up above. You could make a threat by coming up with the whole stack with from E4 up, but that sort of unpins this capstone, and that makes it a little rough later on, because white still has a lot of potential on this board. And coming up with this is a threat, but it's pretty easily stopped. So you would have to make sure that you could really make that work for you. I think in order to do that, you would have to be playing at C6 and E6 first. And even with those two things, like that would be setting up a huge Tinue line, and white would have a lot of opportunity to play other places and really mess that up. And that would definitely be more of a Klimace play than a Tones play. So white is playing over here at f4. That means that they want to play at f6 pretty soon to be able to make the threat. So as black, maybe play at f6. Cover your bases there. That way you can keep white from making their own threat. Still work on your own. And now black's not able to come up with the whole stack from e4 onto e5 to make that threat, because that would be a road for white. So I think you want to play at f6 as black, and then you can go for e6, c6, maybe. But let's take a look at the flat count here. Is it 11 for white? Now it's 10 for white now. Black is making a threat here. Now it's 10 for black. So it's even on flat count. White may decide to come up with c2. That does invite this wall to come left, because that's not an immediate threat. That wouldn't leave a road behind. So that totally works. So black can capture that wall at c3. Or that stack at c3 with their wall, sorry. All right, we see black just drop another flat here. Ready to come up and capture onto c3 if white doesn't come down with it. All right. I do appreciate that. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad way of going about it. Hmm. Yeah, white should definitely come down with the top two, if not the whole thing. Probably just the top two. Because otherwise c2 comes up, and I do not know what you do with that. Because c2 comes up, then I guess you'd have to come up with b3. And then black plays at c4? Oh. White just plays at f6. Okay, makes the threat. Forces a move out of black. Black probably comes down with f5. That is that is probably my favorite way to stop your opponent from making a threat, is to make your own. Force them to respond to you, so you don't have to respond to them. I do like that quite a bit. The other one is to make a move so that if they make their threat that they want to make, they lose. That's probably my favorite one. But yeah, it is always really satisfying to do that. Now white is able to throw up, and then black immediately drops that wall, saying, "No, no, no, I got this. I'm gonna take control over here." Yeah, that wall is problematic for white. What can black do here after white does something? What can white do here, honestly? White comes down. Oh, now that white's capstone was no longer pinned. That's why he threw up all the way to c5, was so that he could bring the capstone down, smash, get that big juicy stack. That's smart. That was smart. I liked that. That was good. So now I think you do have to bring c6 minus, capture this stack, and then spread it to the right. Yeah. So now you've got attack threat for black. White's going to have to spread this up all the way to d5 to stop it. I think that's the only thing that stops this threat, is spreading this capstone up to d5. Which is interesting. Yeah, it's the only thing that stops it. This is really close to Tinue, honestly, for both players. This is a really, really tricky position here. So white, I believe that's literally their only move, is that they spread upwards and leave it at d5. No, no, no. No, they have one other move. I think it's bringing this wall stack up to a5. But other than that, I think that's it. And the wall stack thing is tricky and might lead to death. But this coming up to d5, that's like their only move, right? I'm pretty sure. No, okay, c4 right also stops it. Okay, white can take c4 right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Okay, let's see. He says Alion is saying that 4 e4 left 1 4 was Tinue. So this 1 1. I don't think it was Tinue because I think b3 plus stops them both. But it was dang no. Yeah, it does. But man, that was dang close to Tinue. Really, really close. But I think b3 plus does stop it. But yeah, that would have been a fantastic move. I did not see that. Alion did, however, and that might have something to do with why he was named TAC champion in the recent TAC championship tournament we had just a couple months ago. Okay, so we do see white coming up with the capstone, stopping that TAC threat. and creating their own tack threat, I will say. However, black's now just going to spread this to the right. And cut that off, as that is their only move to stop this. Because they've got to be able to cut this off here. All right. Yeah, so I guess they're just trying to figure out if they want to do 3c5 right 1-2 or just bring the wall over one. If they bring just okay, so if they just do 2c5 right, that's still a attack threat for black now because black can then come down and make the connection here. Doesn't do that. This is not attack threat for black. If you'd just taken 2c5 right, it would have been being able to toss the black flats down and make that road. It would have been seen most likely, but it is a trickier threat, especially since you're cutting off your opponent's threat at the same time. White playing over at a4 now. Okay. A4 looks to be going for a horizontal and also potentially sort of having that opportunity to capture and mess up black's vertical and horizontal threats that they're building currently. What does black's play here? I mean, you don't want to play at c3. That just gives your opponent a good positive flat count differential move that works for their own threat. So c3's out. f5, maybe. It works for your horizontal up above. Maybe you just build up your power a little bit, get a citadel on by playing at c1. Oh, this one's tricky. This one's tricky. So we got 10 flats for black, 11 for white. White does have a double stack here, but black has 2+2 moves available to them. So that would definitely put them in the lead in terms of flat count. And we're not super close to it now, but, you know, we're getting down there. Getting lower on flats. Getting lower on reserves there. Ooh, black comes up, makes the tack threat. That is a risky move because white might just take that wall, that capstone, and throw it all the way to f4, or yeah, throw it all the way to f4. That's a tack threat. You definitely can't smash here, but throwing this to f4 is a threat. And once black cuts it off by dropping a wall here or moving this over, like those are your only moves, is drop a wall or move the capstone over. Then you just take this stack and move it back, recapture those flats, and you're basically in the same spot, but you've messed up black's position even more. I think that's not a bad trade. I like that a lot. Taking this capstone, throwing it to f4. Because like I said, You have two moves as black to stop that. A wall at f5, which messes you up, or move your capstone to the right onto f5, which also not great for you. Yeah, I like that one a lot. That's good. I wonder if white will go for that. Will white go for it? Oh, white missed the threat completely. Black's able to make a drawbridge road here by doing 2d5 plus. White completely missed the threat. That means as long as Tones sees it, if he sees his own road. Oh, they gave him an undo. Okay. So I only give undos in a tournament if it's a typo. Like, not a typo, but a misclick. Like, if I meant to click to spread in a certain way and I spread the wrong way, yeah, I would do that. However, if I'm in a teaching game or something like that, yeah, I will give an undo. But that, I don't know if that was a misclick. Playing there at E2 didn't seem like a misclick because that's making a threat, and that seemed like he missed it. But I don't think he missed it. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see what they say after. But he did give him an undo after missing that threat. I was going to say Tones just won the tournament, but it's not the case anymore. We'll see if that comes to fruition. All right, black comes down with the capstone to recover those flats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's got to leave behind at least that bottom black flat when he moves that capstone. From here, white might play at e2 again to make that threat. Might do something else like b3 plus. b3 plus is nice because it means there's a double threat here and you've got to stop it by capturing up above, whether it be with c5 minus, b5 minus, or a5 minus. You've got to do one of those three moves if white does b3 plus. All right, goes for the e2 instead. This is still attack threat. I do think b3 plus was a little bit better. It does force a move that black doesn't want to make because it messes up their plans for the horizontal and the vertical if they were to make anything over here with these moves. But black does want to bring this stack down. They wanted to do that for a while. Now, white can still make the b3 plus move for a threat. White can even smash on d5 if they want to. It would not result in a loss. White instead playing D1, potentially going for the E1 for the threat. I don't know about that move. I don't think that one was particularly strong. I think they probably wanted to smash at D5, despite the positive Flacco differential move available to black afterwards. Oh, actually, no. Probably ends up as Tinue. If he had smashed, it probably ends up being 2d4 minus 1/1, which is a horizontal threat, and the vertical by throwing this d3 all the way left. That's probably pretty bad for white, actually. Now that I think about it. But yeah, still don't like d1 though. It just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Huh. Black is down to below 4 minutes on the clock. Klimace just above 6. Again, white does need to win this game in order to force a tiebreaker match. If black gets either a draw or a win in this game, black does win the whole tournament. Not just this match, but the whole tournament. That means they get first pick of the prizes and, of course, the eternal glory of winning the beginner tournament. And the snazzy Discord role of tournament winner. So that is a coveted role that resets every year or 6 months or something like that. I think every year. All right. Black then playing an E1 to stop that from happening. White will not play E1 now. White can still do B3 plus. All right, so white plays up at E6 instead. I guess, I don't know about E6. I think B3 plus was still viable to make that threat. Now black's at C6. Both seem to be going for flats here. I'm surprised black didn't play at E5, to be honest. Yeah, still okay. Now we're still not seeing a threat from white. Surprised we didn't see the B3 plus for the threat. Now black can still play at E5 for the road threat. Still not a threat for white. Black came up, white came over. Still not a threat for white. Black's able to come up with the wall now to capture onto C3. Surprised black hasn't played E5, really. It seems like the obvious play there. So we see 12 flats for black, 13 for white. But black does have a +2 move available. White has no +2 FCD moves available. White now, however, has a +3 move available. Black comes up with the wall. Now you've got to see white come up and spread with b3. So b3, 3b3 plus 1, 2, got to be the move, right? That's got to be the move. I am surprised Black hasn't played e5 in so long. It's been several turns where that was a road threat here. That same drawbridge he was using earlier. Klimace getting down lower in time. Now there's just a minute separating these two players. I am surprised he hasn't made the b3 spread yet. The 3b3 plus 1, 2 seems like a very, very simple move to make. If you're wondering what I mean by that, by the way, that is portable tack notation, which is the notation you see off here on the left. It's how we describe moves in tack. And there is a video on that in Tack University called PTN, or Portable Tack Notation. Oh. Why? Why that move? Now, as Black, do you do something like e5, or do you play it a3? A3 sure is a threat, but it just results in yeah, does go for the e5. This results in the same thing. White is going to come up. Granted, it's no longer a threat for white because this double stack has moved left. But this is a threat for black that white has to stop. And they do stop the threat by coming over onto e3. And what I would have said would have been a great move before this wall came up onto c3 would have been capturing up onto e3, because that would have been a sneaky way to throw that whole capstone all the way left onto b3, but that's no longer a possibility. What he can do, however, is play at f4 and renew that same threat. A different threat, actually, because this was going for a vertical. Playing at f4 makes it a horizontal. Now, white is likely going to spread upwards here, which would cut off both the vertical and the horizontal that black has working, because b4 left is a road threat for black. Same with a5 minus. This is a tricky one. It's a close one here. It is a close one. Yep, they do come up, but they did a slightly different spread than I was expecting, which brings that wall up to recapture that stack. Man, a lot of big stack moves in this game. I think as white you want to smash that, and he does smash it. This is a really bad spot to be in for black. It is a road threat. You got to stop that because c4 can spread upwards to c6 to make that road. You can take this wall stack and spread it upwards onto d6 to cut that off. You can also come down to renew this road threat. So this cuts it off, but I mean, you can just capture left with 2b4 left. You can also come up now with a3, and once a3 comes up, if b4 comes left, you just wall. Okay, but black instead came right with c6. I'm not sure. Now white's definitely going to be playing at c3, right? White playing c3 is a dual threat, but then black comes down with 2d4 minus 1-1. Yeah, you want to... So he brings that to the right. This is now a horizontal threat. Wall gets dropped. White's going to play at f4. Oh, that also works. Yeah. White doesn't need to play at f4. White can play here to jump this stack to the right. Black sees it, brings that wall left. White now plays at f4 to renew the threat. I guess black can come down with the wall on f5. They do that. Yeah, white plays at f5. I guess maybe potentially playing at f3 on the following turn after black's move. Unless black moves 2d6 right, which would be funny. Oh, that's the same. Oh! White missed the threat! White missed the threat! White made their threat on f3, missed the d6 right. And that's the road. Black wins. Tones wins game 2. Wow. That's twice this game that Klimace missed that road threat, different road threat. But man, that was tight there at the end. They were both pretty low on time, down to a just over a minute each person. But white played this f3 move very quickly. I guess not noticing that this was a threat, really just focused on their own threat here, placing at f3 to be able to smash that. They were really confident in that, and they played super quick, and I think that just got the better of them. Just kind of getting sort of too focused in, tunnel visioned on your own threat is really, really easy to do. I've done it countless times. So really, really nice game though between the two of them. Really, really close. That was a lot of fun to watch that one. So well played to both players, and congratulations to Tones for not only winning this match, but for winning the whole tournament. So congratulations for winning this January 2023 Beginner TAC tournament. You will get your first choice of the prizes, and Klimace will get the leftovers, which are still pretty good prizes either way. So a lot of fun to see that, and a lot of fun to get some folks watching this, and to see all these new players participating in this tournament. It's been a blast. Anyway, that is all for today. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of fun. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be right here on playtac.com or asynchronously right there over in the Discord server. Lots and lots of stuff to do over there, and lots of people to play with. You could play with these people right here. Maybe you could play with me. Maybe you could play with the Tack Champion, who was in the chat here. A lot of great people to play with, a lot of great community. You can even play with bots on playtack.com. Lots of great stuff. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.